The mystery surrounding the coronavirus becomes denser and denser by the day. As doubts arise about its origin, and everything seemingly points to biowarfare being waged against China. According to the medical journal The Lancet, the first case of infection dates back to December 1, 2019, and the person infected had not been to the Wuhan fish market. Further critical points have also been raised by some independent journalists. Now we know that in the Wuhan biolab, the Chinese were experimenting with a modified SARS virus for military purposes. At least 3 other countries have been doing the same for years: the United States, Russia, and China. We found 3 news in this regard. The first news dates back to 2014, and it announces the construction by China and France of a biolaboratory for the research on infectious viruses in China. And guess in which city it was built? None other than Wuhan. The second news, which is connected to the first as of 2015, in which the Pirbright Institute, a British government-funded pharmaceutical company, asks and obtains a patent for the coronavirus, that can also serve according to the patent as a vaccine to prevent respiratory lungs disease such as contagious bronchitis. The third news is about the Bill Gates Foundation funding biotech companies that are trying to develop vaccines against the deadly Wuhan coronavirus. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and others predicted up to 65 million deaths via coronavirus, in simulation ran just 3 months ago. I wouldn't be surprised if both the US military and the CIA were directly involved in the development of the deadly coronavirus strain. Bear in mind, the 2014 Ebola outbreak came as a result of another rogue US military operation in Africa in which the Soros-Gates-funded Kenema Bioweapons Lab in Sierra Leone was involved. Surprisingly enough, this rogue U.S. military operation came shortly after Mark Lambert's appointment as the new U.S. ambassador in the United Nations, as an effort to prevent and thwart China's aggressive influence over the UN Security Council's future decisions. And John Bolton? What was he doing at the Gates meeting? Welcome to the Atlantis Report. Everything apparently points to biowarfare being waged against China. The culprits are the Western powers, namely the US and Britain. The objective is to put stress on China in a combined effort to contain her growing power and influence. The tool, the coronavirus. The best bioweapons are not going to kill everyone immediately. They burn through too many hosts and die out. Best to make a virus that infects everyone and causes the infrastructure to fail with massive numbers of the sick. Kinda what is happening in China right now. Look at Ebola, it kills too fast and dies out relatively quickly. Coronavirus, officially called the novel coronavirus 2019 nCoV. Its contagion is a respiratory illness, a new type of viral pneumonia, in the same family of infections as SARS and MERS. It is highly contagious, up to 2-week incubation and patients with no symptoms. Just the perfect recipe for a global outbreak. I doubt any country is prepared for this. Wuhan, a city of 11 million, is completely shut down, is estimated to have over 25,000 confirmed cases and over 43,000 infections. Wuhan lockdown doesn't really help to stop spreading in other major cities in China. Chongqing can be the most affected, followed by Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. China has over 50 million people on lockdown right at this very moment, just give that a little bit of thought. Over 50 million people. And by the way, China is always lying about figures and statistics. The coronavirus is way more grave than they make it seem. Millions of Chinese are stuck in cities in complete lockdown. The first case in Germany was just reported. By now it is spreading across the States and Europe. Meanwhile, most stocks are hovering around their all-time highs. Remember that after the SARS breakout we went down to -40%. And SARS was nothing compared to this one. This is the moment to prevent getting a hit with your pension money. I suspect there will be follow-up releases until desired population levels are achieved. If they released this, there is nothing stopping them from releasing engineered smallpox, Marsburg, anthrax and so on. Or God knows what kind of chimeras they have created. And rising speculation it was engineered could be steered by the US as an accidental release from the Level 4 facility 20 miles from the fish market. Extremely slick. Wonder if she has it figured out. Probably. It's a dead certainty Putin has. Another article by the blacklistednews.com reports under the title, "Did China Steal Coronavirus from Canada and Weaponize It?" Last year a mysterious shipment was caught smuggling coronavirus from Canada. It was traced to Chinese agents working at a Canadian lab. A subsequent investigation by Great Game India linked the agents to the Chinese biological warfare program from where the virus is suspected to have leaked, causing the Wuhan coronavirus outbreak. Coronavirus arrived at Canada's NML Winnipeg facility on May 4, 2013, from the Dutch lab. The Canadian lab grew up stocks of the virus and used it to assess diagnostic tests being used in Canada. Winnipeg scientists worked to see which animal species can be infected with the new virus. The research was done in conjunction with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency's National Lab, the National Centre for Foreign Animal Diseases, which is housed in the same complex as the National Microbiology Laboratory. In March 2019, in the mysterious event, a shipment of exceptionally virulent viruses from Canada's NML lab ended up in China. The event caused a major scandal with bio-warfare experts questioning why Canada was sending lethal viruses to China. Scientists from NML said the highly lethal viruses were a potential bioweapon. Following the investigation, the incident was traced to Chinese agents working at NML. 4 months later, in July 2019, a group of Chinese virologists was forcibly dispatched from the Canadian National Microbiology Laboratory (NML). The NML is Canada's only Level 4 facility and one of only a few in North America equipped to handle the world's deadliest diseases, including Ebola, SARS, coronavirus, etc. People have speculated that there might be a connection between these two events. Perhaps, they wonder, that the Chinese have been stealing the weaponized viral agents. Perhaps, they wonder, that they were caught and then expelled from NWL. But maybe something else was going on. Perhaps, something else that had to be done in secret and kept away from the Chinese scientists. 3 months later. On October 18, the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, in conjunction with the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, brought together 15 leaders of business, government, and public health to simulate a scenario in which a coronavirus pandemic was ravaging the planet. Major participants were American military leadership and certain neocon political figures. The Chinese were not invited. The members took notes, and then returned to their day-to-day operations. 2 months later, a very similar coronavirus pandemic hit China. The first occurrences in December thus appeared to be of minor concern.